Now you're in all
stars,
you're
Jane,
play. Now you're in
rock stars,
the zone.
P.
I have been observing Yippee Tech, a tech support scam website, for quite a long time. So when I looked at their site, the first thing I noticed was their contact. Right here, we can send messages to them, and their CAPTCHA is an equation in plain text. I'm going to be exploiting that later. The next thing I noticed is the account registration. Any email address can be typed in there, and you don't even have to confirm your email. So now let's go back to the contact. We're going to be exploiting this. Websites use JavaScript, so I had to write this in JavaScript, which is actually one of my preferred languages anyway. So here is how the code works. This repeats everything inside of it every millisecond. So everything inside is going to be repeating. So every millisecond, we have here this list of names, and a random name is picked. Then same with the last names, a random last name is generated. Then this line right here takes the last name and first name and inputs them. Now the email. The email takes the first name, two random numbers, the last name, and a random domain, and puts them all together, and then submits them into the email input box. Then the message, we take a random introduction, a random message, a random signature, and combine them. And then put them in the message box. The last thing is the CAPTCHA. Your CAPTCHA is literally an addition problem in plain text. So what we do here is we get the actual addition problem, and then we evaluate the addition problem. It's not very complicated. Then we put the solution to the equation in the CAPTCHA box, and lastly, click the submit button. It works beautifully. The addition problem is right, and it keeps generating the information every millisecond. But you might be wondering, why is it not doing anything? Why is it not submitting? The thing is, it is submitting. You just can't see it, because what's happening is, since there are so many redirects happening at the same time, the browser is suspending them. So while the messages are being sent, the website doesn't redirect you, which is good for us because we can send more messages then. The thing is, I'm lazy. I don't want to be opening up the console and then pasting in code every single time I open a new tab to flood it. So what I'm going to do is plug this script into a Chrome extension, and the Chrome extension will then load this script every single time the website is open automatically. Then I can just sit back and do absolutely nothing. So as you can see, it works fine. I didn't even have to open the console, and it still loads the script. Now that this is done, the registration. Here's some more boring code that I'm going to have to explain. So basically, here it checks if there's a logout button. If there's a logout button, then it clicks on it. If there's no logout button, then what it does is it generates a random name and a random last name, just like the last time. Then it creates an email from it by taking the name, two random digits, and the last name. And then it adds a domain at the end. Then it puts the email into the input box, and finally, it clicks register. Every time register is clicked, it's going to be taken to a new page that's going to have a logout button. It logs out, and then it registers again. It keeps doing that forever. Here is the final result. You can see it generating emails, inputting it, registering, and logging out each time. I was actually able to take their servers down a couple of times. As you can see, I screenshotted the 504 errors I got after a few hours of flooding their site. Sadly, it was only temporary, and they fixed it about a half hour later. This tells me the tool works. I'm quite pleased with the end result. I might improve some of the code or add different scripts if I find different things to exploit in the future. For now, That's all.